Hi, I'm Angie. I am your host for Mentoring with Angela. I am delighted that you are here. I want to thank you again for subscribing, commenting, liking, and sharing me. Please continue to. I am happy to bring this second video to you. This is part 2 of your emotions and its effect on diabetes. So let's dig in, shall we? So I'm going to be referring to my notes from time to time, so I hope you don't mind, but I want to be accurate in the information that I am presenting to you. You know, we have been plagued with stress for the last 2 years. You know, should we go maskless? Should we get vaccinated? We're stuck in our homes. We have just been, under so much stress. And, stress is really a spirit of fear. And so when you talk about stress, you're talking about being afraid. You're afraid that, am I going to get it? Should I send my kids to school? Are they going to come back? Are they going to infect me? What if my mom or my dad, they have a compromised immune system? What if they get it? What happens if I get it? And then how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to keep a roof over my head? Stress, fear, fear, fear. And so that has been associated with diabetes. And so there was a doctor, let me get my glasses on because I want to make sure that I'm giving you the accurate information. There was a doctor, his name was Dr. Thomas Willis, and he lived in England from 1621 to 1675. And he noted that diabetes often appeared amongst persons who had experienced significant life stresses, sadness, or long sorrow. So significant stresses. And this was back in the 17th century that this doctor noted this. Now, in 1935, there was a psychiatrist, and his name was Dr. W. Menninger, and he postulated the existence of psychogenic diabetes and described a diabetic personality. And he believed that because of the shift or fluctuation in your blood sugars, that your mood would then be affected. And so that's why he has the term called diabetic personality. And I spoke of that last week because trust and believe me, when I get hungry because my blood sugar is low, I am hangry. And I'm like, where is the food? I need it right now. Stop messing around. And then once I get it, then I'm like, thank you so much. That was so nice of you. Now, I offended somebody because I'm sure that they were like, oh, this chick is crazy because of my attitude, but they don't understand that I have a diabetic personality. Now, there are four types of diabetes. There's pre-diabetes, gestational, type 1, and type 2. Pre-diabetes is when you go in for your annual physical, your doctor says, you know what, get some blood work, you come back, she talks to you and says, here are your numbers. And they're looking at the A1C number. And they'll say, you should be in the normal range between 5 and 6. But you're elevated, you're kind of like 6.5 leaning towards 7. Now, your number is elevated, but not high enough to be diagnosed with diabetes. So the doctor is going to tell you, you need to become active, change your dietary habits, and lose a few pounds. But I bet you any money that your doctor does not say, how are you feeling? Are you dealing with any depression? Are you under a lot of stress? Of course not. They're going to put you on medication right away, whether it's insulin or pills, if you are elevated, if your numbers are elevated. And that's what happened to me. My doctor didn't ask me, how are you feeling? Have you been traumatized? Are you dealing with suppressed emotions? But it could have been also because my numbers were so high that she needed to stabilize me. And so maybe that's so. But I know that when I went to see the cardiologist, I had to see a cardiologist. And when I had to see the endocrinologist, neither one of them asked me, how are you feeling? They didn't care. Take these pills, lose some weight, do some exercises, and see me in 3-4 months. I'm saying that you need to check on your emotions because, see, when you're angry with somebody, the only one that you're being hurtful to is yourself. When you have this unforgiving spirit, the only one that you're hurting is yourself. Whenever you're sitting up there just chowing down, putting all those fat foods in your mouth and you know better, you're not hurting anybody else. You're hurting yourself. And that's what I was doing with me. You remember in last week's video, I spoke to you about one of the resources, Louise Hayes, and her book, Heal Your Body from A to Z. And when I spoke about diabetes, she said that was the problem, and then the probable cause. And that was lack of sweetness, deep sorrow, need to control, and longing for something. And when I looked at those 4 different things, I was like, well, how does that fit in my life? Well, if I was going to be completely honest, and I had to be, I did find that, yeah, there was a longing, something that I should have did, but I didn't do. There is that deep sadness because next Sunday is Mother's Day. And at the end of May is my dad's birthday. And neither one of them are here for me to celebrate with them. And then I've had miscarriages. And I wondered what could have been. That sweetness that Louise wrote about. I was like, well, what does that mean? And what that means is that the joy, that sparkle, that smile was missing. And instead of me living and loving life, I wasn't enjoying life. I was busy in my community. I ran for school board, served on the board, did all that I could do, created programs for the kids in my community. I wanted to make a difference, but I wasn't making a difference for me. And somebody wrote on Facebook, well, it's about time that Angie gives some of the energy she's been giving away back to herself. And I was like, wow. When we are stressed, we are fearful. And we're fearful that we're going to be rejected. We're fearful that we are not enough. We're fearful of speaking up. We're fearful that we're going to be left out here. We don't belong. And we live in this fear, and we allow the everyday stresses to come to bombard us every single day. And instead of looking outside your window, stepping outside of your comfort zone and saying, I love living life, because you don't have to be here. 1 million people have died from COVID. And I almost died. Not once, twice. When you think of your body is a fine-tuned machine. Everything that you need, God has given to you. You never have to wake up and say, heart beat, lungs breathe, kidneys make some urine, digestive system work. I got a cold, immune system. Send out those killer T cells and attack this virus. You don't have to tell your body that. It does that automatically. And what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to love your body. You're supposed to love yourself. You're supposed to enjoy what God, your creator, has given you. Have you looked outside? You see this board behind me? It's a picture. But you can find this beauty in nature every single day if you stop and look at it. If you stop and smell the roses. See, you don't have to be sick. Just because you have diabetes or whatever ailment you have doesn't mean that it's going to take you up out of here. Only if you choose. Only if you choose. See, our emotions are alive, and they embed themselves in our body to remind us of the thing that we're dealing with. And it's not until you recognize what it is that you can say, oh, yeah, I got diabetes. There's no cure for it. But you know what? I'm steadily losing weight. This past weekend, I went out. Let me tell you, honey, I had such a wonderful time. The mayor here, he had a fundraiser for the children here in Asbury Park, and it was called Rock and Roll Recreation. Ooh, it felt so good to get out, to see people, to say, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in such a long time. I didn't have to worry about, do I look too fat in this? Or am I right? Is this okay? I just got up there when that music was playing. Angie was on and popping. I was having such a wonderful time. And then I went out Saturday too and had a good time. And I'm going to continue to do that because life is worth living. Yeah, I have diabetes type 2. So what? It's not going to control me. And if you have it, don't you let it control you either. You get up, you get out, you do. You laugh, you love, and look at all that God has created, and you enjoy that. That's what it's there for. You have the power to heal yourself. You have God's authority to use the power that he has given you to heal you. Now, the choice is yours. You can sit back and say, oh, woe is me. Or you can just say, you know what? This is a new day. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to love life. And before you say, I love you to somebody else, you better start loving on yourself. Just kiss you. Just kiss yourself. Just give yourself a nice hug because you deserve it. And don't sit around waiting for somebody to do something for you. Do it for yourself. And ladies, you know next Sunday is Mother's Day, and I got some tribute for my mama and for you too. But I'm going to tell you something. If somebody doesn't bring you any flowers or candy, they don't come visit, they don't call, bonk them. You do something for you. Just because you have diabetes doesn't mean that you're dead. Now, there is diseases that come with it. I'm going to wrap this up. You got to be aware of coronary heart disease. You got to be aware of peripheral artery disease. And that's when the arteries in your legs narrow and no blood can get down to your foot, to your toes. And that's when the tissue dies, and then there's gangrene, and then there's amputation. That's why you got to get up and you got to work out. You have to go in for your checkups. You can go blind. You can have kidney disease. And I'm not going on no doggone dialysis. And there's neuropathy. Those are things that exist, but it don't have to be if you take care of yourself. Love you. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to if you want to know how to lose weight, you want to check the emotions, what you stuffing your face with. What are you trying to keep down? So next Sunday, oh no, I won't be talking about that because it's Mother's Day. I got a tribute for you. But anyway, I'll see you. You take good care, and thank you so much for watching.